I'm calling Kenny. This is Kenneth Rhoades, best friends of Pete Santilli and Deb Jordan. Hey, Kenny.
Yeah.
Hey, I got this recorded right now. I just introduced who you were. I did introduce hashtag OrangeHatMan since you developed that, but I told everyone that you were best friends with Pete Santilli and Deb Jordan, and that you've been on this trip since the beginning, so I'm going to let you take it from there.
Oh, okay. So we're live right now?
Yeah, we're recording, Ken.
Okay. This is Ken Rhoades. I've got one thing to say to the American people. If we don't stand up now, then we're all going to lose our freedoms. As I understand, they got Clive and Bundy this morning now. And I mean, it's just unbelievable with the power, the reach of the federal government. They're actually like the brown shirts were for the Nazis, and we're going the same way that Germany went. So American people better stand up. I never thought that they would get this far out of control, but we got a federal government that's way out of control. So I went to Burns with Pete and Deb in the Time Traveler. We got there from day one. We went to the march, and when we got through, then we found out they'd taken over the refugees down there. So we didn't have any clue what they were doing, but you know, some people call it what they want. I call it civil disobedience. And yes, they're going to pay a price for it. And it looks to me like they're going to make everybody pay a big price for it. Now they just got the last 4 out of the compound this morning. And actually them 4 had nothing to do with taking it over or anything. They were just there as, I don't know really what they were there for. I met them all when we went down on a news conference, but I had no clue, you know, who any of them were. But they seemed like a great bunch of people to me. So only thing I can say is that we're headed for some rough times in America, and the citizens that all come together. And what they done this morning when they took Clive and Bundy down, they're like throwing cold water on the ranchers. And all the ranchers better stick together, because what they're telling you now is if you stand up, we'll either put you in jail or we'll shoot you. I don't like either one of the options. But that's what they're telling the ranchers. So even the townspeople, they better get behind the ranchers. Everybody better get behind the ranchers, even small business, because they're actually they're coming in and they're actually shutting all the small businesses down now in this country by putting restrictions on this, restrictions on that, and most people don't even see it. And what I'm going to tell you about it, a lot of this is done under the mind control. It's very devastating, and people don't understand it because you can't see it, but you can sure feel it. But they can come in and change your mind and implant their own thoughts in your brain. And everybody needs to do their own research on this. Just don't take my word for it. They got the technology, the most dangerous technology ever existed for mankind right now is being used on all the citizens in this country. And it's even being used on some of the FBI, the police, the sheriffs, everybody else. So this is a very dangerous technology. Now, Dallas, why don't you ask me a couple of questions, because I'm kind of wound up over what I just got through watching Davey gave himself up. So.
Yeah, I am too. I actually wrote some things down to try to help you out. You were telling some stories to people when we were at the funeral, as far as the blue tarp that they were handing us at the funeral. I was going to see if you could tell them that story, because you got a lot of chances to talk to LaVoy.
Yes, the night that LaVoy was in a rocking chair and had a blue tarp over him, and he stayed out there all night. All the news left. Well, we kept the camera running, and we put the car between him and the road where no nuts could come by and shoot him while he was under that tarp. And he had a deal on his feet. Me and him had a long talk that night, and I was telling him about the mind control. And that night he told me, because Pete had already told him, yes, what he's telling you is true. He said, when this is all over, you come to Arizona to my ranch, I got a bedroom and a bed for you anytime. You never have to stay in a hotel. And he said, we'll put investigator on this. So I was very happy with that because I told people this is a guy that you should walk 10 miles and shake his hand. One of the greatest guys I ever met, for them just to absolutely murder him. Stepped out of the car with his hands in the air, they shoot him in the lower stomach area, and he goes down to put his hand on it, and they just blow him away. I mean, this is what our government has come to. So if any of you think he deserves it, and I heard a few of them say that he deserved it, well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you that when they come out and take you that you deserve it. Nobody in America deserves what our federal government's doing to us right now. And LaVoy was a great spokesman. He was a soft, gentle guy. I never heard him raise his voice. You know, he went along, and I'm sure he never even thought the federal government would just assassinate him. I can't believe he thought that they would actually do that. But my opinion is that when they pull that truck over, they plan on taking all of them out. Like McConnell, I hope he's got something to live for the rest of his life because he led them into an ambush. That's my theory, and I'll stick with that one. So,
well, who do you think was responsible for destroying LaVoy's memorial? I actually have some of your pictures. Actually, right now it just came up of the photos that you actually took out there before it was destroyed.
Well, you know, I don't know. I think my personal feeling is that the FBI, the sheriff, or the Judge Nasty there in Harney County probably told somebody to go out and do it, and you got our blessings on it, because you don't disrespect somebody that's dead. And to me, that's the utmost disrespect that you could ever pay a man in his life. But there is some good townspeople, because, you know, they put that up. We didn't put it up. The pager didn't put it up. One guy in the town actually put that up. And I'm sure, and we had a lot of townspeople out there when we went out to document the place where he died. There was a lot of townspeople out there, and a lot of them had their feelings hurt over him getting killed, and they didn't want to see that in their county. But this judge and the sheriff there, they don't care what happens in their county. They don't care what the people in their county think. They think that they just should submit to them and do what they want. I heard that they even had a dance the night he got killed. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard it from 2 or 3 sources. That shows how evil these people are. So.
Oh yeah, that they were celebrating.
Right.
Yeah, I actually had I actually interviewed two people. One was from Burns, and they actually did say that was true. And he said the same thing. You know, this is what we're up against. This is just pure evil. And I got to know Pete Santilli, and I got to know Deb, and I got to know all you guys at the very beginning of all this. And some of the listeners, I don't think know, you know, your relationship with Pete and Deb and how long you've known them, because you were there since day one, since the beginning.
Well, I've knew Pete for about 3 years now, and Pete took up my cause, you know, on the target individuals, and I told him at that time, I said, this is the most important thing that the technology that's ever been used on mankind. At first, Pete had trouble believing it, and Deb had trouble believing it. They went in and started researching it. They talked to scientists, medical doctors, and they found out this was true. So Pete was a big advocate for us. But as Pete, as a person, he never did one thing wrong out there in Burns. He was very cautious about going into the compound, and let's say the news was going down there. And then we went in there, but yet they arrested him and charged him with the same thing they charged everybody else with. So the only thing I can tell the mainstream news is if you let them get Pete, you don't stand up, then they're going to come after you next. Even one of them told me, well, they don't bother us. I said, no, because you don't tell the truth. So if you're alternative news, anybody, including Alex Jones, they better all come together and get behind Pete. Because if you don't, they will be after you next. And that goes for all the alternative news. they've all got to come together, just like the citizens got to come together to fight this iron fist they're coming down on us with.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Another interview I had, they said the same thing. They listed off all the alternative media, you know, Drudge Report, Shuff, just some YouTube channels, and she said the same thing. Regardless of who was out there and who wasn't out there, you know, we can argue later about these things. The bottom line is, I think you and me and everyone else sees how fast this is going right now.
Oh, yeah, well, I heard Alvin Bundy, somebody was saying Pete Santelli was a Fed, and Alvin said, well, if Pete's a Fed, I wish all the Feds believed in the Constitution like Pete Santelli does. So that was a good saying from another gentle giant. Alvin Bundy is a gentle giant. He believes in what he's doing. He's probably going to pay a big price for it. But you know what? When you're fighting a war, you lose soldiers on both sides.
Correct.
And I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe you can tell me, Dallas. Have you heard the Sharp family? Somebody said the FBI is surrounding their home now. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard that. It wouldn't surprise me because, you know, look at how they're getting rid of the men right now. And so now it's up to the families, the women and children, which, you know, that is a good possibility. I haven't been watching, but that's what I see coming now is they're going to start, like you said at the beginning of this, they're really going to start hitting the ranchers now. This is all about the resources.
Oh, this is all about the minerals that's under that ground. It's nothing to do with their cattle or anything else. The American public thinks, oh, well, they're just out there raising cattle. Well, them cattle they're raising are feeding you. The government wants to own that land for the minerals that's under it. And a lot of them's already been sold off, like the Bundy Ranch was already sold off to China, you know, by Harry Reid.
Well,
so, I don't know. I know we're headed for very rough times if America don't wake up. Today there should have been 10 million people in front of that courthouse in Portland, Oregon. That's all I know. If they say they're going to have a big march there, I'll be back there.
Yeah, well, I will too. I will too.
But the American people have got to start standing up now before they knock on your door.
Well, okay. And the other thing, the last thing that I was asking everybody is any messages that you have for Deb and you know, all the Pete Santilli listeners, because obviously he's incarcerated right now for being a political prisoner, which is completely wrong. And if you want to end this with a message to Deb and Pete.
Well, I'd like to see Deb on the air a little more often on the live stream. But I mean, you know, I know her circumstances. She's trying to do a lot of things. She's working with the investigators, but we need to find more time. But everybody needs to sponsor them and back them as much as they can right now, because this is a time when they really need it. So, and if you listen to somebody else on alternative media, you need to, if you can't be there, you can't do it because you got to work or you got to do this or that, you need to sponsor anybody that you get your information from. And that'll be all I got to say, Dallas.
All right, Ken. Hang on one second, Ken. All right, guys. So that was Ken Rhoades, a.k.a. #OrangeHatMan. If you guys don't know, he was there the entire time. Full supporter of the Pete Santilli Show and friends. Please help Pete and Deb. Go to thePeteSantilliShow.com /donate. Thank you.